Today, we talk about marketplaces.
This show is for everyone working at the coalface. Digital, business, marketing, social. This is At the Coalface with your host, Jason Greenwood.
Hello everybody, I'm Jason Greenwood. Welcome to episode 36 of At the Coalface. Well, it's Friday evening here in New Zealand, so it's what time is it now? It's about 6:45. So just finishing up for the day, and thought I would shoot a quick video before I left the office for the day. I want to talk about a subject that is pretty important if you're into digital commerce and you're looking to expand the channels in which you sell. And so what we want to talk about today is really two different channels, but they're tightly related, and that is the concept of marketplaces and shopping comparison websites or shopping comparison engines. And when we talk about marketplaces, we're talking about e-commerce marketplaces such as Amazon, such as eBay, such as TradeMe down here in New Zealand. So, and there's other regionalized marketplaces. So the marketplace in New Zealand, as I said, is TradeMe. That's the most popular one here by far. No other marketplaces have been able to build any traction here in New Zealand. And then what we have happening in China is quite a unique, localized marketplace model that has grown absolutely exponentially over the last decade, to the point now where marketplaces absolutely dominate the e-commerce space in China. And that's due to a lot of different factors, but one of the factors contributing to that in the China marketplace is the fact that doing cross-border e-commerce into China is challenging. It's got its own difficulties. And doing e-commerce within China as an external company has a whole lot of challenges associated with it. So when we look at all the licensing requirements and all of the other governmental red tape and all of the complexities of being able to sell via your own branded e-commerce website in China, that explains why marketplaces in China have gained so much traction, especially over the last couple of years, to where they're almost the exclusive way that people purchase online in China now. So Tmall and some of the other marketplaces in China that have really gained traction. So when you think about marketplaces, there are always trade-offs on listing on these marketplaces as an e-commerce brand owner. And one of the trade-offs is that you've got to give away a percentage of your sales. So typically there's a commission involved. It can range on eBay to 6 to 7.5%, depending on what products you're selling, what vertical you're in, etc. And it's similar across most other marketplaces. So you're giving away a significant percentage of your margin every time you sell via one of these marketplaces. However, obviously they've got their own audience, and so therefore they've got enough buyers utilizing those marketplaces that you can't not be on them in many respects, especially depending on how strong your own branded website is and how much traffic you have going to that own branded website. You may simply have to list on these marketplaces to generate enough business to keep yourself viable and to be where your customers are, especially if a significant portion of your customers are in these marketplaces, and it is very vertical specific as well. Some verticals aren't as successful on marketplaces versus other verticals. So what you need to do is you need to do your homework, you need to do your research, you need to find out whether your vertical would benefit from being on one of these marketplaces before you rush out and list on these marketplaces, even if you think you can do some business through there, because you will have to give away part of your margin. Now, one of the other benefits of listing on marketplaces is the fact that you can capitalize on them by treating them as effectively an acquisition channel. So you would look to leverage a marketplace to acquire a customer through that marketplace for the first time. And then traditionally what you would do is you would treat that customer differently at dispatch time or in your communications with them, whether it be via email, text, whatever ways you communicate with your customers. You would typically treat those customers that were originally acquired through a marketplace quite differently. So you may incentivize them. You may put a leaflet in the first shipment that you ship to somebody that you acquired through a marketplace that has a discount coupon code for your website, so that if the next time they shop, if they shop directly through your website, then they get a discount. And that's going to encourage them to migrate from being a marketplace customer to a direct website customer, and therefore you don't have to give away that margin anymore to the marketplace to keep acquiring customers over and over again through those marketplaces. So leveraging marketplaces as a acquisition channel is certainly a very smart strategy that a lot of businesses use in order to make the best use of marketplaces without it perpetually killing their margins on an ongoing basis. So when we think about marketplaces, we also tightly aligned with marketplaces is the concept of shopping comparison engines or shopping comparison websites. So when we think of those types of websites in New Zealand, we've got a website called PriceSpy.co.nz, and that website is originally started out as purely an electronics shopping comparison website where you could type in the product and you could see all the retailers or e-tailers that were selling those products, and you could see the price comparison between them. They've since expanded over the last few years to where now they do homeware, whitewares, and a whole range of other products that they will pull down. They'll suck down a list of products, a product feed from the major e-tailers/retailers that want to list with them, and then they will load those onto the website so that you can search and find them in a kind of a Google-like way. And then you will see all of the retailers and their prices on those products, and you can click on links that link out to the website page where that product exists. And so that's a shopping comparison website. In Australia, GetPrice.com.au is a very, very popular shopping comparison website, and there's equivalents in almost every country in the world, and some of them are international as well, so they penetrate around the world. So one of the benefits of being able to be listed on those websites is typically you pay a fee for the click-through as opposed to the completed purchase. There's different models of how you pay to be listed on shopping comparison websites, but often it's either based on a click-through or it can be based on a completed sale, depending on whether they have sale data that tracks right through to your e-commerce website's a success page, the order success page. When someone completes an order, sometimes there's a tracking tag or a tracking pixel that exists on that page, and it will track when a successful order has been completed based on the cookie that has come through from the shopper's browser from that shopping comparison website. So I don't want to get into the technical piece, but there's a number of different pricing models about how you have to pay to be listed on these websites. Now, when it comes to marketplaces, as I said, typically you'll pay a commission, and that'll typically be, that'll be based on completed transactions from transactions that are completed on that marketplace, and then you'll have to pay at that point. You'll have to pay a percentage of whatever that final transaction fee was. Now, when we start thinking about how we actually technically integrate with these shopping comparison and marketplace websites, obviously you can do your listing, you can manage your listings manually. So you can either upload a CSV file or literally go into your account, create each and every individual listing that you want to list on a shopping comparison website or a marketplace. Now, obviously that works for very small businesses or individuals that are doing very small amounts of volume through these channels. However, when you start listing thousands of products or thousands of auctions on marketplaces, they're typically auctions is what they call them, especially if you're eBay, but they don't necessarily have to be secondhand products. There's now on most marketplaces, over 50% of the products listed on marketplaces now are brand new products sold by primary brands, main brands, well-known global brands, and then the rest of it is typically selling secondhand goods and their private person-to-person sales. But because such a large percentage of the products listed on these platforms are brand new products, typically brands will need a method of connecting either their ERP system or their e-commerce platform into these marketplaces and shopping comparison websites for ease of managing those listings. Ease of managing the media that goes along with them, the imagery, the name, the stock quantity, the price, the description, any other product attributes that they want to push out to these channels. Then they need a way to manage that in an automated way so that it's not a lot of manual double handling. And then on the flip side, after a transaction is completed, they need an automated way of pulling down those orders either into their ERP, order management system, e-commerce website, whatever, for fulfillment to the end customer. So typically the way that this happens, there's a number of different technology providers out there that specialize in connections, in the connectivity, the software that sits in the middle between e-commerce websites and ERP systems and the marketplaces and shopping comparison sites. So that can range from something as simple as a shopping feed generator that basically takes the data, spits it out of your website via an API or a CSV file, provides it to the the marketplace or the shopping comparison site. They then suck that in and then create the listings for you based on the account that's pushed in under. All the way, now that's a very basic integration. More complex integrations allow full two-way communications between those platforms. And so what would happen is that piece of software would sit in the middle. It would facilitate all of the data and product information being pushed to those platforms, those third-party platforms. And then when the transactions are completed, then it facilitates pulling down those orders into the order management platform or the e-commerce platform for ultimate fulfillment. And then once again provides another connectivity going back to the other direction so that the customer can be sent things like tracking details and status of shipment and, well, the status of the order full stop, including status of shipment. So there's different pieces of technology. There's M2E for Magento, which stands for Magento to eBay, and it connects specifically to eBay. There's another company down here based out of Australia called Omnivore that provides connectivity between a number of different platforms, including Magento and eBay and a couple of other marketplaces and shopping comparison sites. And there's a whole raft of other technologies. There's certain product information management tools, platforms that will also connect to these different external third-party channels. So there's a whole raft of ways depending on what you want to connect from and what you want to connect to. So there's specific technologies that will facilitate that and make it very, very easy. And typically they charge a fee either for hosting your products if they actually house the product information and then push it out, or they'll charge you per listing that you push out from their tool, or they'll charge perhaps by transaction, completed transaction that gets pulled back in through their platform. So there's another a range of pricing models around how those platforms bill you for their services. Now, obviously, some of the risks of playing in these spaces is that these platforms can obviously cherry pick the data. They have a vast amount of data. So if we look at Amazon in particular, which is one of the, I guess, the early, if we want to think about marketplaces, they were one of the earliest and largest marketplaces, followed by eBay. And what Amazon did, they kind of did the dirty on their merchants in many respects, because what they did is they looked at all of this data of all of the merchants' products that were being sold through their platform. Then they cherry-picked the most successful products. They procured them directly through Amazon, and then they started selling them directly to you as the consumer, and me as the consumer, as if they were an e-commerce website themselves. And so effectively they cut the lunch, if you will, of the original sellers that were selling through the platform. And obviously there's a mix still. There's a mix of Amazon sold products and merchant sold products, third-party merchant sold products through the Amazon platform. But certainly Amazon has become the 800-pound gorilla that they are by selling products directly to consumers, whether that be books, whether that be music, and now they sell just about everything under the sun in terms of consumer goods on the platform. So certainly that is a risk with some of these marketplaces. I mean, there's a risk that eBay could potentially at some point start doing that because they are in a weak position compared to Amazon in the overall global market. And so there's always that risk. However, I think that the vast majority of businesses don't really have a choice but to take that risk and be listed on their local highly successful marketplaces anyway, the market dominant marketplaces in their region. They will really need to be listed there in order to be competitive, in order to be seen, in order to do the volumes that they need to be successful and to acquire new customers through those channels as well. So I think that most businesses don't really have a choice. It's not ideal, but it is what it is, and those marketplaces have built up enough of a cache. They've done enough marketing to their end customers that many customers will only shop on marketplaces now. So they don't do business with e-commerce websites anymore. They view marketplaces as e-commerce websites, and because they can kind of get every kind of product that they can imagine through the marketplaces, then they don't want to have to go to one e-commerce website for some products and go to another e-commerce website for other products. They want to be able to go to one marketplace, get everything that they want through one marketplace. And another development that's happened over the last year or two is that the marketplaces are offering aggregated shopping cart type experiences now. So it used to be you buy one thing, you check out on the marketplace, you pay, and then you have to go back and you have to complete a new transaction for the new item because they're typically not sold by the same merchant on those marketplaces, and so you'd have to complete one transaction at a time, but you'd never leave that platform, but you just have to do them one at a time. Now they offer aggregated carts to where you can add stuff to your shopping cart, and eBay has offered this for a while now, where you can add a bunch of items to your shopping cart even if they're being sold by a range of different sellers, you can pay one final payment, whether that be via PayPal or your credit card or whatever. Pay one final payment, and then they will split those payments up and send them to the correct merchants for you on your behalf, making it a heck of a lot easier for you to make one aggregated purchase through the site, and making it a lot of higher value to the people that shop through those platforms. So I hope I've helped to explain how marketplaces work, how shopping comparison websites work. Another associated model is really the affiliate model and affiliate network model. I won't take the time to talk about that today, but I will talk about that in a future episode, because the feed model works across affiliate networks as well. So you send a feed of data to affiliate networks, and then they put it out to their affiliates. And I'll talk about that in more detail, as well as the popular affiliate networks and how they tend to operate, and why as an omni-channel business, it's very important that you work with affiliates, because they have such a large audience themselves that you really can't be without them. So very similar to marketplaces and very similar to shopping comparison websites. So I would urge you, if you have a local market dominant marketplace or shopping comparison website, I urge you to investigate the opportunity to list on those sites and platforms. And you'll be able to expand your market by being in these channels that maybe you haven't ever been before. And it's a real good revenue opportunity for you. As I said, brands are increasingly going on there. It's an increasing percentage. Brand new products sold by brands are increasing percentages of the volumes being put through these marketplaces, so they're not going away, not by any stretch of the imagination. So it would be worth your time to wrap your head around them, see what the opportunity looks like for your business, and then just simply put the technology in place to ease the process of listing and selling and getting information back to your customers via those marketplaces. Because remember, marketplaces survive on customer feedback, and you as a brand, if you do list on those marketplaces, will survive, live and die by the feedback that comes through the feedback systems, the social feedback systems on those platforms. So it is in your best interest to make sure that you can ship out goods quickly, that you answer questions quickly, and that you look after your customers in the best way that possible that you can, so that you have the highest seller rating on those marketplaces, and so your listings come up above others that don't have such a good rating, all of the things being equal. If you've got any questions, let me know. I'd love to help you out. I'd love to answer any questions you may have, and talk about your experiences on marketplaces and how they've helped or hurt your business, and let us know your thoughts. Thanks very much.